Hi kids, Professor Brew here. I thought our meeting went really well today. I really appreciate everybody putting on a brave face and being willing to stay in the room with me while we go through this adventure in education. So as promised, I'm going to do a demo on drawing your cut glass. I'm drawing in my sketchbook on treated paper. I have my object and I have a photo of my object, which I will insert into the video. I've also got the tools that you see here. So I have my viewfinder. I have all of my pencils, several pencils sharpened and ready to go. I have 2 gel pens, white gel pens. I've got my kneaded eraser that's cleaned and softened and ready to use, and my sharpener. Okay, so let's get going. So I'm going to set up a bounding box that is the ratio to my viewfinder, and I'm going to put in a tone using a 2B pencil. And I really want to try to get it all going in the same direction, and I'm going to blend it out. So I'm just going to use a little paper towel here and blend. Okay, then I'm going to go back in with the same pencil, only this time I'm going to go across. But notice I'm using the side of my pencil. Now I don't want to go too dark, so I'm going to take my kneaded eraser and I'm going to roll it up, and I'm just going to go over this and lift a little bit. Now the reason I didn't use my fingers to blend is because when I put my highlights in for my glass, I'm going to need to be able to lift that background easily. And I didn't want the oil from my fingers to get into the graphite and make it difficult for me to erase. You all are drawing on gray paper, and so you don't need to worry about this, but if you ever do come across, this is a good technique to know. So now using my 2B pencil here and my viewfinder, I'm going to be looking at my object, cropping it, and putting in my basic shape. So I'm basically drawing the negative spaces and kind of putting in a silhouette. Okay, and now that I have my basic shape, I want to go back in. I know where the placement is, so I can put my cropping tool down. And I want to go back in and I want to find my center line. And as soon as I put that in, I can see that my object is not symmetrical. So now I'm going to go in and start putting in a little bit of line weight. So you notice I'm going from top to bottom, side to side. And I'm looking at these distances, putting in my ellipse. Making corrections. Making sure my proportions, you notice I'm sight measuring here, making sure my proportions are correct. And making sure that everything is where I want it to be. Following my contours. There we go. I want to make sure that these are the same, or sorry, not the same, that they're going around this way because I'm looking down on it. And I know I'm looking down because I can see the top open. So I'm looking down. And now I can see that this base is not centered, so I've got to fix that. All right, and then I'm gonna draw through here, and I want to sight measure the width of my base, and I'm looking down on it, so it's going to come out a little further like that. Okay. Now I want to add some line weight. So it's going to be thicker here, thinner here where it's catching the light, a little thicker here. So you see all of these little steps start helping you to see more and more of your object. So there's a little bit of dark here and here, and then it's light as it comes down here, and I've got a little bit of a line weight here, here, and that line meets up. So see, on second look, I can see this line here meets up with this line. And this dark goes all the way across and gets thicker here. So I'm making it thicker, building it up, leaving it thin. Okay. And this comes in at the same spot here. A little line weight sort of breaks up. There we go. I want to bring this up here. There we go. And then in here, I've got a little dark. I've got a light, I've got a dark, I've got a dark here. All of this is planning. That doesn't quite come out that way. And this is all with my 2B pencil. This is straight, comes down, then this is dark here, light, and dark here. So this is a little dark here, a little dark here. Then it comes in and goes up. And then it's light in here, dark here, dark under here. There's no surprise there because it's right underneath the glass, so it's going to be in the shadow. And then I'm noticing now that I'm looking at this again that this is coming out like this, and it's really dark right there, and it's actually going into a shadow. So this is a little bit of a shape right here. It's going up, coming out here. Not quite as thick as over here, but then when I get to here, it's really thick. Okay, so this is on the inside and this is on the outside. So what that's telling me is that my light is coming from this from that direction. Okay, so there's my little glass. And my line weight. Okay, this has got to come out a little further. There. Okay. And this isn't quite so pointy. So the next step in this video is that I'm going to start lifting the light areas. Now, that's only because I'm working on paper that I toned myself. For you, you would be starting with your shadow shapes. So I don't want you to be confused by this process. I just don't have gray paper on hand. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start lifting. See how I'm making my kneaded eraser into a point, just like it's a pencil. Okay, and I can just draw with it. This is called subtractive drawing. And you may have to go over it a couple of times. I don't want you to be frustrated by that, but it's part of the process. So get into it, love it, embrace it, enjoy it. Now, again, this is with 2B. I haven't gone to a soft pencil yet. Just coming around here and putting in this little shadow shape right here. Okay, all mid-tones. I'm not putting in any highlights or high darks right now. I'm just trying to find my light areas and my dark areas. This side's a little bigger. The shadow shape's a little bigger. This side's a little bit smaller. And you notice that these angles here are following the angles in general that I've already drawn. So now I'm just removing some of the tone here. This is subtractive drawing. And I'm just preparing these areas so that I can start adding my shadow shapes. There's a shadow kind of right down the middle here. And this bright area is on the front of the glass. It's on this area here, not this area back here. It's really bright in there. Go. Okay. All right, so one of the things here is that, and here I've got all these lines, and these lines have to start to disappear. So I'm going to go back here again with my 2B pencil. I've got a shadow shape, and I've got to look at 1, 2. Okay, so this is pretty much divided into thirds here. Okay, so this shadow shape is about right here. And I just want you to see how this line right here is going to start to disappear. And really that's what you want. You want to create an edge. You want to make it look like the line's not there. Now, if there's a dark here, you can go a little darker. So there is a little bit of a shadow shape that's right here. And then there's a little bit of a darker area right here. Okay, so I've got, several values going on. But as it gets down here, it gets a little darker where it gets to this edge. But I don't want to go too dark just in case I need to lift. So now I need a little bit of a stronger eraser, so I'm using my Palomino Blackwing. And I like this eraser because it's kind of rectangular and has some corners on it that I can use for this drawing. So I'm going to lift. That's what you need to do instead of adding white to your drawing. Is you need to use that gray tone of the paper as the color. And now I'm going up, I'm blending this line right here, I'm blending it out. This is lighter than this. I'm just doing a little cross hatching. and blending out, blending out, blending out. If I need to lift to make this a little less dark, look at that. See, I just lift and then I come back in here and I know that this is a little darker right here because this is the lip of the glass and it's creating a shadow just like on a box. Now you guys have drawn boxes before, right? So now I've got this little shadow shape right here. It comes out here and it comes down. Our shadow shape, light shape right here. This is pretty dark in here, but I don't want to go black. Okay, just want to indicate it so that when I am ready to finish this drawing, I know what to do. Okay, so I want to continue this shadow down here. So this comes in here and it comes down and it curves and it goes in like that. And on this side, it comes down, it goes in like this, and then it comes down as it goes into the design for the cut glass. And that design is sort of coming in like this. So I'm just going to put a little gesture in there to help me remember. You just have to look for where things are. Like this little spot right here that I'm putting in lines up right in the center here. And then right here, there's like this little triangle. And then there's this little triangle here. And then I'm going to take my black wing and there's a line there. There's a white area there, I should say. Actually, there's a white area all around here. So for you, that's going to be the color of your gray paper, and then you can add white later. So here's another little shadow shape. Just going in. You see how it's starting to look like cut glass already? See, to me, that is like a miracle. I'm going to come right up here. Now, if you do not have a dark wing pencil, what can you do? You can take your plastic eraser and you can cut it into the shape that you need to do your erasing. So right here, this is dark right here, and it kind of comes into a corner here, and then it goes up, and then there's a band, and that band of a lighter gray is sitting right on top of this front part of the glass. It's not back here, it's in the front. And then it gets darker down here. So I'm just putting it in to indicate it. And there's all kinds of little teeny tiny little complicated shapes in here. So I'm just indicating them as that's a little what I would call shorthand for getting this in. Now this is going to read really white in the end, and it continues. I'm just cleaning off my eraser by erasing it on a different surface. This little highlight right here is in the back. So when we see it through the front of the glass, it's not going to be as white as this. Now, right now, I'm putting in you got it, the placeholder. It's thicker here than it is here. But when I finish the glass, I'm going to leave this and I'm going to add white to that. So I'm always thinking about my plan. My plan. Okay, so this is thin here and it gets thicker. Here, I got a cast shadow here and then it bends and comes down. I got a light here, and that light sort of comes all the way out. Notice how I'm drawing with my eraser. This is called subtractive drawing. That's why you had to do a subtractive drawing exercise in your sketchbook so that you would know what to do. All right, so now I can make this background right here a little darker. You see, I'm handling it all. Some of you are saving your backgrounds for the end, and I wouldn't do that. I would start treating and drawing the whole picture all of the time. Now I made a mistake and added my point to my pencil. So I'm going to take my, to get rid of that sketchy look, I'm going to take my little paper towel and I'm just going to blend that out as much as I can. Okay, and then clean it up. But you see now how the lines are starting to disappear. So I have a little flat area on my pencil now that's sort of fitting in with this blending, shading technique that I'm using here. And this gets a little darker here. It's light here, and then it gets darker at the bottom. There's a cast shadow here. There's a little sparkle and a little sparkle. So I want to make sure that I get those indicated. Thin, thick, thicker, and then it fades out. Darker at the top, goes into this little sparkle here. Yeah, everything is still a mid-tone. This only looks bright because of its relationship to other things, but it's not white yet. There we go, coming up. And coming down and around. See, now I looked at it again and I realized this curve is going this way, not this way. And I can see I need to do some lifting because I missed some spots. I want to do it now because I don't want to forget. Going back to my dark wing, black wing. Okay, lifting, lifting, lifting. Okay. And this goes around here. And then I've got, okay, so see now I see that curves out here and it's kind of parallel as it goes into this little shape in there. I'm gonna stop this and start recording again for part 2.